context of the prophecies, being noted that the first three horsemen are identified accurately, and the fourth is in process for publicity shortly. Here I have a final message and a grave warning for all prior to my return. I have deciphered an important aspect of prophecy in regards to Century 2, Quatrain 62. Specifically, the current translations of the Nostradamus prophecies that have circulated in English from French have been inaccurate. The current translations we have are transliterations which change the meaning of the scripture in our linguistic understanding. I came to this understanding after reviewing and correlating other prophecies from the French prophet in correlation with Islamic, Quranic, and biblical prophecies, and have found that the books from Islamic tradition written alongside the Quran that contain what I refer to as the Dajjal prophecies, which we have identified, is also the biblical false prophet Nostradamus, Mabus, coup of anonymous being, the still living Osama bin Laden, which you can see the full details on my YouTube channel, verifying all this in full detail. More specifically, the translation here. Mabus, plustost, alors, mourra, viendra, de gens in best of honorable defaite. Puis tout, coup, la vengeance, on verra. Faim, quand, courra, la comete is not what we see in English print books and translate tools. It comes out a little different. We have used transliterations instead of translations, which alters the perception of interpretation when hopping language barriers. Allow me to correct. Before my boss will die, people on horses will bring about a horrible rout. All will see revenge from the people on horses. Before my boss dies, many will die in famine when the comet strikes. The translation here, not the transliteration, means sooner than Mabus, which denotes the fact that it refers to before Mabus will die. You can correlate this to the Dajjal prophecies of Islamic scripture that Prophet Muhammad had his uncle Ghost write about Dajjal outside of the Quran, where it distinctly specifies that Dajjal, whom we identified as the still living Osama bin Laden, will strike again when everyone stops mentioning him and worshipping his image. Also correlate to biblical prophecy of the false prophecy. Here is identical to Islamic prophecy in that before he dies, which he has not yet died, as we proved on my YouTube channel and gave insight to his existence of still being alive also. The second stanza in his prophecy can be properly deciphered by analyzing the time frame differences of speech, phraseology, and simple terms. When of is used in medieval languages, it means something differently than what we use of for nowadays. Of is meaning by denoting that the route to feed will be brought about by people and beasts here refer to horses. Soldiers will ride into war. This is acknowledged by cross preferring Ref 6, 8 into 19, yet does not correlate horseman number 4 and horseman finds its historical roots in medieval Latin and Old French. Even further, revenge means one of two things, which determines the entities of interest. It either refers to Saudi Arabians or the Ku Klux Klan Confederate Army rising once more, depending on how Nostradamus meant for that stanza to be interpreted. With the rest of the quatrain determine who it references, but we know that either party that the revenge is aimed towards: the United States, the European Union, the United Nations, France, Italy, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia. The United Kingdom is likely to aid either party, considering Brexit and post-Brexit issues and friction. However, be reminded that biblical prophecy foretells that the eagle, the US, will in simple terms recuse itself during these times and correct its mistakes, which only alludes to the fifth horseman being from the US, which means that Nostradamus does not refer to Saudi Arabians here. And let us be reminded that St. John explains that the false prophet will deceive the people to worship the beast, European Union, and the UNC. Prophet Daniel statue correlation and YouTube citations by request. The loose end between the fourth and fifth horsemen, the pale horse and the white horse, not the first white horse with the rider carrying a bow. We have already clarified that, and their identities will be made clear very soon in relation to Nostradamus prophecy given here to clarify that the fourth horseman is already past and the fifth is on its way. Mabus, plustost, alors, mourra, viendra. De gens en best en horrible defaite. Puis tout à coup la vengeance en verra. Sans faim, quand, courra la comete. On the YouTube channel in full detail for you ignorant fools. All three sources mention fiery hail and comets to earth. By Mabus studies verify that they are not hail or comets, however, but rather something else. I say this because we verified that all three sources, after positively identifying each to be one and the same on the YouTube channel, works magic in revelation. The false prophet works miracles and performs magic, as it also specify in Islamic prophecies in and out of the Quran provided by Prophet Muhammad, as well as more precisely by Nostradamus. Specifically, Nostradamus refer to the elder definition of philosophy by mentioning Mabus' strong Muhammad, which refers to sorcery, a thorough study of what real magic is and how best to use it efficiently can be identified as channeling such elements through deceptive and manipulative political practices that you average Joe schmoes have no clue about. Let me tell you about real hypnosis. Let me tell you about the real harms and threats of psychology. Let me tell you about blackmail, coercion, bribery, Machiavellianism, real good perfected Machiavellianism. And do remember that this entity comes as a wolf in sheep's clothing, which reinforce that this man is a skilled manipulator and deceiver and can only allude to a politician, hence the term false prophet, as he is no minister of God, but of the minister of and for the UN and European Union. Prophet Daniel statue and St. John's beast. In very, very simple terms, people, for everyone who just wants the quick answer and don't care about history,
past and current prophecies. We are entering a war, a great world war. This is not a prophecy or a superstition or a conspiracy theory. Yes, it has been foretold by these three prophetic sources, but that is not why I am posting this. I am posting this because I will be leading each of you as time progresses, prior, during, and post. The stage has already been set by Bush and Osama. The 27-year war was already started, but that war parallels and leads into another war. Let me put it in more simpler terms. Osama is still alive and he'll strike again soon, nor because it's encoded in multiple prophecies, but because the evidence suggests so, and because sociology tells us so. On the other side of Earth, another great war is brewing right here in the US, a second civil war. Both civil wars indeed include and will include multiple nations, and each hemisphere will be subverted by the force of opposition, and then we'll collide with each other as all the prophecies explain. We already seeing the intermediate steps to those being fulfilled right here and now. Osama bin Laden will rise again and take control of a great majority of the planet, and the Confederate States of America will be revitalized by the Ku Klux Klan and subdue the United States. The United Nations will be broken, many people will die, the sky will rain fire, but it is not hail or comet. Be it noted that Osama will use bloodshed and war, and the whole world will follow suit under the UN. But the fifth horseman will use a simple sword from his mouth to subdue the nations, his tongue. This message is for you, so you know I will be there to lead you. The true seekers of righteousness and faith against the enemy. I am the light and I shine your path. Do not take this message lightly, for it is not a joke nor a hoax, but both a warning and a message of hope for those who are enlightened and faithful and can see past the deception and misleading the people Earth are subject to. You will see me again when my eyes turn red and I sprout many crowns. You will see me